Many a times, movies used to portray jocks as the top of the food chain. They were well-built, athletic, chiseled looks. It was a formula that really could not be beat. Nerds, on the other hand, well, they were brilliant but pale, lanky, and truth be told, had a face for radio. However, that was over 3 decades ago. And in case you've been stuck in some cryotube all this time, things have certainly changed. Smart is the new sexy. Green is the new black. And the nerds are saving the earth one car at a time. This is the 2022 BMW iX. Currently, the nerdiest jock available for the general public here in the Philippines. A car with so much tech for today's roads that even Night Industries 2000 would be proud.
Cut.
What do you mean cut? That's it? That's all you wanted? You wanted me to get dressed in a turtleneck in the middle of the day for like 15 seconds worth of footage? Man, I hate you. Look at me, I'm sweating in this thing. I look like a malnourished talong. Man, I hate you, Jack. Hey, BMW. Can you make it a little cooler in here? Because I'm feeling very hot.
I will reduce the temperature. It will be more comfortable shortly. Let me know if it gets too cold for you.
All right, player. Do you need help purchasing your car insurance? Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph/car-insurance. Here, you can compare prices and customize your insurance coverage from many of the Philippines' top providers. When you've selected the insurance that's best for you, simply fill out the application and complete the transaction with ease through Visa, MasterCard, GCash, GrabPay, or PayPal, and receive your policy within the next business day. Get the best deal on insurance with AutoDeal. The sole variant that BMW is bringing in would be the xDrive 40. Dimensions-wise, well, the wheelbase is about 4 inches shorter than that of the X7, which is, we've reviewed that car. The links are somewhere up here or in the description down below. The ground clearance is the same as an X6M, which is about 216 millimeters, but the dimensions of the automobile, where it's actually closer to that of an X5. So to put it plainly, it's a 5-seater premium crossover, but that's probably as close to plain as you're gonna get, because the staggering figures are that the horsepower inside this automobile is about 326, which is enough to rival even a Nissan 370Z. And then there's the torque, 630 Newton meters, which is enough to make even an F-150 blush. And then you've got a range of 400 kilometers, give or take about 20-25, thanks mainly to a 100 kilowatt battery pack. It could actually pass as another futuristic car coming out of any car company in Europe, if it wasn't for the large kidney grille up front. That makes it undoubtedly and unmistakably a BMW. However, that grille, well, it's not exactly a grille. It's an intelligence panel. The little air it needs to cool off the battery sneaks in from underneath, while behind the panel are integrated sensors, camera, and radar technology for advanced driver assist systems. The headlamps are LEDs, and because of advanced technology and design, it maximizes road visibility without the need for fog lamps. Now, normally we'd open the hood and show you what's inside, but we have been advised not to do so and to leave that just simply with the professionals of BMW. We figured that you wouldn't find anything else under there that you could touch anyway, and it's probably riddled with kilometers of wires that will rival the central nervous system. Besides, if you did open it, the only thing that you would need to do would be to top off your washer fluid, and if you wanted to, you could do so by putting it in right there. Now, BMW didn't have time to argue with people about 18s, 19s, or 20s. So what they did was they slapped on a minimum of 21 inches and basically called every jock out there a sissy. But I know what you're thinking. All that tech inside this automobile and the wheels are like, well, they're like David Hasselhoff singing. Man. But there is good reason for it. These are 1010 bicolor 3D polished wheels. Now, they're designed to be as aerodynamic as possible. And then there's the tires themselves. You'd expect a BMW to have run flats. Not here. These guys are fitted with Bridgestone Alenzas to decrease the amount of rolling resistance. Basically, science. Now down the side, there aren't any cuts to speak of, except maybe for a sliver of a bend that you can find there. And then there's the blue garnish found down below, which mimics the one up front. But there is more geeky stuff on the side, like the way the door opens. It's actually a button that you push like that, much like a rear tailgate. And then both the front and rear doors, check it out, are frameless. And then the doors are also soft close. That's a pretty awesome flex. I like that. You've got a pretty generous amount of space at the rear. When I say generous, I mean it too, because you're looking at over 1,000 liters of space, about 1,500 actually to be exact, especially if you maximize it when you remove the tonneau, which can increase to over 2,200 with a flip of a couple of switches, and then the second row falls over. Then underneath, you've got a little bit more space here, including your emergency cable and your compressor to charge to inflate the tires. Upon closer inspection, if you notice here, there's a pattern that emerges here at the rear, and then it's also at the sides and also at the roof. Because what this is carbon fiber reinforced plastic. And you'll find that, like I mentioned, here at the rear, at the sides, and the roof, in an attempt, which I'm assuming, to make the car as light as possible. I mean, the car does weigh over 5,600 pounds. To put that in perspective, a Fortuner, something that you see on the road, is 2,000 pounds. Still, it does carry a 100 kilowatt battery, which is, in total weight, that's actually not bad. Oh, and speaking of charging, now, it's nowhere near as difficult as loading a Trans Am into a moving semi, but sadly not as fun. But it is actually still pretty cool. First, depending on the power outlet, set the iX accordingly. Pop open the charging port, pause for a moment to think about how Kit was actually built in the US but speaks with an English accent. Weird. Then grab the thingamajig, jam it in there, and Bob's your uncle. Optimize performance over long distances thanks to a high range of state-of-the-art battery charging technology. DC fast charging, capable of up to 200 kilowatts, allows the battery to be charged from 10 to 80% of its full capacity in just 40 minutes. A 10-minute fast charge adds 90 kilometers to the car's range. The iX comes with a 32 ampere home charging port, so when installed, it can deliver a fully charged vehicle within 9 to 12 hours. Now, BMW Philippines offers the use of its charging facilities free of charge for its customers. And it must also be said that the iX can be charged in locations like certain SM malls in and outside of NCR, and capable gasoline stations like, well, the Shell in Mamplasan. Now, I have sat and driven a 7. I have sat and driven a 5 Series. But to be completely honest with you, nothing comes close to the comfort level that you have here inside the iX. Truly, it's amazing. It's like a great big hug without getting claustrophobic, so to speak, so it's kind of not. But it's just so comfortable back here, and it looks darn great too. I mean, when you first see the automobile, it's like Jennifer Connelly in the movie Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, it looks good. But when you get inside, it's like Jennifer Connelly in the movie Career Opportunities. Like, uy, pwede yun. But at least that's from my take. The way Jack describes it to me, and he showed it to me, when he sits in the back, since he's a much taller person, then it lacks a little bit of thigh support because his legs come out till about here. But anyway, that's from Jack's point of view. But really, from my size, and anybody normal size, it's really very, very comfortable back here. In fact, it's so plush in here, you wouldn't think about the extensive use of secondary raw materials, like the natural and recycled materials with a high quality proportion of secondary aluminum and recycled plastic. Almost no use of chrome, leather tanned with olive leaf extract, and then the floor coverings and mats are all made from recovered fishing nets. To be honest, that's actually pretty amazing. as to are the toys back here, which include, you've got dome lights found up there. You've got two Type-C charging points for every passenger. You've got them here on the headrest and here too. And this latch actually comes down. This is for an attachment that you can put, which can hold like an iPad or a tray or whatnot, which you can probably get as a BMW after parts and accessories. You've got your air vents found here, and then your air controls found here, air and temperature controls, mind you. You have more air vents found on the B pillars, plush seats, and then you've got a center armrest with, oh, get that out of the way, with two cup holders. That's actually very nice. Then there's the fact that you can marvel about the amount of room that the 5 passengers can have here, because there is no center tunnel to speak of at all. So this could actually be the first proper 5-seater crossover that I've actually been in. Because look, it's so easy. It's like a van, man. Look, it's flat. I like that. The door cards are actually pretty decent. You've got a normal sized bottle that fits in very, very well. It's very soft here. The leather is actually very good. You've got good use of materials here too. You've got speakers on the door, a pair in the rear, which is of 11 inside the entire automobile and sounds really damn good. And then there's the cool way to get out of the car, which is the press of a button here, and it just flips the door open for you. If it's brown out, because it is actually an electric vehicle, there's still a latch under here that you can pull that opens the door like so. So they really did think of everything, didn't they? Yeah. Ah, this is my water. If it hasn't been obvious, my influence has come from an area prior to the millennium, which is why my expectations when I enter a car with so much technology is panels upon panels of buttons, sort of like, you know, like I'm thinking of the Starship Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon or KITT. But, and the kids of today will agree to this, those were the days of yore. This is basically what the future looks like.
Days of yore, like Y-O-U-R, like back in your day.
Shut up, Jack. The iX is a premiere for BMW's operating system 8 and the new generation of the iDrive control and operating system. The curved display spans a fully digital screen grouping made up of a 12.3-inch infotainment display and a 14.9-inch control display with a single-piece frameless glass surface which can be controlled by voice. You've got expected standard conveniences like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both wireless of course, a reverse camera with sensors all around, and wireless charging, along with exceptionally standard equipment like a 4-zone air conditioning system, ambient lighting on all doors, a suite of 18 Harman Kardon speakers which includes a subwoofer under each seat. Unfortunately, the drawback I'd say is that the fact that there are no physical buttons for the air, you gotta go through the system to get to the air. The center console features a new rocker switch as the gear selector, a touch controller, and an illuminated glass effect control surface with feeler bars. Oh, and also active haptic input for controlling the vehicle functions. I also have to add that the iX is the company's first series-produced vehicle with a hexagonal steering wheel. Now, the reason that they do this is because they claim that it gives you a better view of the cluster and whatnot, and the instruments and whatnot, and you can actually move it electronically thanks to a lever down on the left. Now, it's not exactly a face that only a mother could love, but it's also not the prettiest thing either. But I guess, yeah, you can forgive it because, truth be told, the way this car drives is really something else. First is the NVH, and I gotta tell you, it is absolutely whisper quiet in here. Truth be told, it's unbelievable. There are other cars in the market, other electric vehicles in the market, that what they do is they pipe in an electric sound, a futuristic sound, to compensate for that too much quietness, if you can even call that a term, that happens when you're driving along. And I kind of get that. However, some manufacturers get it right, other manufacturers just barely passed the bar. In this particular automobile, well, they weren't going to be happy with just any Hollywood sound or picking up any sound that you could find on no copyright music from off the street or whatnot. What they did was enlisted the help of Mr. Hans Zimmer. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's also responsible for soundtracks like The Man of Steel, The Dark Knight, Inception. Yeah, that dude. And then there's the fact that since there is no engine, there's no knocking, no vibrations at all that you feel inside the automobile while you're moving. And then there's also the fact that, well, thanks to the entire car's weight, plus the batteries that are found underneath, the center of gravity is so low, the ride is just absolutely smooth. And then finally, you add to all of that the fact that this is an X-Drive with electric motors, so it's by no means, like at all, sluggish. This thing kicks. I've driven cars with more horsepower and torque before, like Italians with definitely much more flavor, but none compared to this automobile about how immediate the translation of power is from the motor all the way into the tires. It's immediate. It's like a light switch, man. It's off and then it's on before you can even blink your eye. It is exhilarating, and truth be told, it is knocking futs, man. It's really something else. I know I've been using a lot of superlatives to describe just exactly how quick the power is, but truth be told, there's no other way to describe it except that. Because if I were to use anything else, I'd be like, ayawa! Whoa, whoa. Man, what other car do you know of that you don't need to go into sport mode because eco mode is more than enough to do a pull? None. This has got to be the only one. That was too much fun. We got to do that again. Yes, we're doing it again. Okay, here we go. Light switch. Oh. Oh. Did you get the sound? The sound is amazing. Again. One more. Okay, this time it's in sport. Listen to the sound. Watch this car beside us. Woo. 0 to 100 in 6 seconds? Yeah, I believe it.
And it's not just like 6 seconds does not sound that fast, right? It's like
6 seconds inside this car just feels really fast. And the thing is, there's zero lag. You don't, the moment that you think that there's going to be lag, in that half second where you expect it, that half second you're already 100 meters where you actually were. It's just so quick and immediate. And the fact that there's no buildup of energy before it actually releases itself, since it's an electric motor, it just goes immediately. It's really unexpected. It truly is like a light switch. It's not like there's no spooling, there's no changing of gears, trying to figure out which is going to be the best. When you depress, or rather when you press the pedal with all of your might, thinking that you're actually going to be faster if you put more weight on your right foot, inside this car, when you do, you really are going that much faster. Your foot is definitely going to lighten up because of how fast the car can go. It's just unbelievable. This is the wave of the future? Man, we're going in the right direction, that's for sure. So this is basically what happens when you sneeze inside this car and your foot's on the accelerator. Achoo! Aray! Guys, are you ready to sneeze?
No.
I'll sneeze again.
It's okay.
Achoo! Okay, on to the more grown-up stuff. Visibility is actually pretty good inside the iX. The dashboard is not high at all, and neither is the infotainment system, because it actually is sort of like on the down a little bit. So you have an unimpeded view, and then what helps also is that you've got quarter windows by the A-pillars. Now the A-pillars are nowhere near small, but it feels like, or rather it looks like it's smaller thanks to the aforementioned quarter windows, which I actually like very much. Cooling inside the automobile is actually very nice. As mentioned, there is a 4-zone automatic climate control found inside this car. And then the cool thing is also, the air vents inside this car are much like those on previous Volvos that I used to see, which is that there are air vents also on the B-pillars, which is actually pretty nice. And yes, I also have to admit that although, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the steering wheel, it really does help that this portion of the steering wheel, the top portion of the steering wheel, is actually bigger, because then you really can see the infotainment system and your driver controls and whatnot. Not the infotainment system, that's on the right side, but basically your speedometer, tachometer, and all your drive functions on the screen without any hassles at all. So yeah, the steering wheel actually works. So it's more of function over form. Ugh. Not a big fan of that, but okay. You know, oddly enough, it took my wife to figure out that there's actually something missing inside this automobile. And we only figured that out because I was doing a couple of speed tests with her. But when you accelerate and you get kind of scared, you want to be able to grab on hold to something to keep you safe. I noticed inside this car, there are no, well, as we call it, bars. There's none. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Okay, I don't know how we're gonna do this, Jack, but we're gonna attempt a 50 to 100 km/h test, and we're gonna do it on eco mode. Let's see if this thing still pulls, man. 50 to 100, 3, 2, 1, go. It's too fast. Stop. Too fast. What's the time?
3.9.
3.9 seconds. Too fast, man. It takes longer to say this is an EV vehicle. Give me my tax exemption, please. It is extremely powerful, so it definitely has the Need for Speed freaks out there covered, without a doubt. Then there's the fact that it's extremely comfortable inside, which actually covers a very wide range of commuters, if I'm being honest. Then there's the fact that the private sector is now putting up charging stations, not just inside NCR, but outside it as well. So charging, or rather traveling with an EV vehicle outside of the city, is going to be much, much easier. Then it also has something for the eco-conscious too, like recyclable aluminum in the body, recyclable batteries made entirely with renewable electricity, motors that use no rare earth metals, and battery cell manufacturing uses only green power from certified sources. Dude, even the aluminum is manufactured using solar energy. The thing about it is, I'd recommend this car almost to anyone and everyone really, but truth be told, you and I both know that, well, for now, only those that have deep pockets will be able to afford this vehicle, because its price tag falls just shy of, well, 7 million Philippine pesos by the time this video does come out. However, regardless, I still look at this car in the exact same manner I first did when I saw Kit those many, many years ago, which is, how exactly do I sell my mother to get one of these? Of course I'm kidding, I love my mom.